Hi everyone. Oh my gosh. Here, I want you to see. We've got all the girls. Just got a evening snack. Mom and the babies are out with the whole flock. Hey Luna. And I wanted you guys to see, I just walked past this apple tree. So I planted this apple tree when we moved here in 2004. We moved here December 18th. And that February, like the first 10 or so bare root trees showed up. So we've got about 10 trees in the property that are about 21 years old. This is one of them. And there had been an apple tree right here. Right here was an apple tree. And it was really old. The woman who lived here did some stuff to the house. She did nothing to the land. It was this high, and all those ducks are all over the place. It was just Scotch broom and tansy and the bad tansy ragwort and blackberries and Canadian thistle for miles, right? And so this tree was really messed up, but it had a bunch of those suckers. So you get those long, straight branches that are just going up to the sky. So when we took the tree out and replaced it with this one that I'm going to show you in a minute, I also, you can see over here, this is the garden, right? And there's our arbor right there. And so this fence here, I'll show you the garden real quick. The garden fence from a distance is about 45 feet wide and 100 feet long. So it was all lawn. It just was short, plain grass. And so now, oh, there's the ducks. Look at those ducks. They have been flying in circles for the last 10 minutes or so. Hey, ducks. Oh, we have a wetland over there. They're probably trying to get into the wetland. Anyways, so here is the garden that I've shown you pictures before. All of that was just grass. And here's what's really cool. So here's what's really cool. Okay. In general, I find that, here come the ducks again. What are they doing, you guys? What are you doing? Two boys and a girl. So they're all over the place. There might be someone threatening their nest. Anyways, okay. Most people who live in the country really love to see what other people have done so that you get advice from your fellow neighbors. And when I knew that I wanted a fence, I didn't get a book. I didn't go online. I didn't go talk to the people at a fencing company. I just went and drove around my community and I looked at all of these different people's fences and I found this fence that I really liked. So this is a great trick. And the fence was an expensive fence owned by a fairly wealthy family. And it was metal poles, and then it had either deer fencing or maybe some metal fencing. I think it was deer fencing. But the poles were these really, really like that big around honking things. And I'm trying to figure out, how do I do this and not spend quite as much money? So, you know, a chain link fence, right? You go to a park somewhere in the city and they've got chain link fencing. So the chain link fencing has, in fact, there you go. Forgot. So my house has chain link fencing because the previous owner had some big dogs and she built this dog run for them because she didn't have fencing on the whole property initially. Okay, so here we go. So this is chain link fencing. And you have these poles right here that go across the top, right? And then you'll have your up and down poles. Well, this is a pretty thick pole, but this right here that you see, this is also a chain link fence pole. This can be used at the top of a chain link fence. And so at one end of it, it has, it gets more narrow at one end for about 8 inches. It's almost like it comes to a point. And it's hollow. And when I was building this 20 years ago, they cost about $11 a piece. So I bought 1, 2, 3, 4, I don't know what, like 30 poles. so like $300 in poles. And then you get 3 people because you want them straight up and down. You got to have someone on the ladder with your post hole pounder. Someone's holding the pole so it goes straight. And you can see then, you know, it's tall enough to give you enough height so that you're not going to get deer jumping into your garden. So that's the key about these things. And then if you live in the country, you might have to worry about trash pandas, also known as raccoons. Now, raccoons can climb the deer fencing, but they don't love to. And so that tree, the old tree over there, and oh, by the way, let me show you the new one. So the old tree that had all those suckers, I went ahead and I took my loppers and I would cut like 8-inch lengths of these suckers, straight cut, angle cut, straight cut, angle cut. I ended up with all these little dagger shaped pieces of straight apple wood. And then the fencing went down to the ground and curved just a little bit. And then I would take the pieces of wood and make them at an angle like this, hammer them in with a mallet to push down the fencing. So my fencing over there is 100% pushed down to the ground with some grass growing up around it. So deer will push under your fencing if they know there's good stuff in the garden. So I have the fencing 100% enmeshed, sewn into the earth, so to speak. Anyway, so here's my apple tree that I planted. Look at her. I'm really hoping that you are in focus. She's just perfect right now. And I trimmed her last year, of course. I try to keep up on it. Gave her a little trim this late spring, but just look at that. Look at that. This tree will give me about 200 apples. And look at how happy and beautiful she is. And what's really cool is that the deer will nibble around the bottoms but don't cause any major problems. And then the cats love to climb around here, and sometimes the chickens come and hang out in the apple tree too. Look at that. Yay! So of course, for the first 5 years that we had her, we didn't get any apples. Year 6 or 7, we started getting apples. And that's the cool thing. I remember when we moved in, and that February I was getting all these trees because I'm the only one who's ever ordered a plant for the property. And my husband was like, we just moved in, we're tired from moving, do we really need to plant trees? And I'm like, well, actually, yes, because trees are like stock. You know, the stock market. They take time to mature. And if you wait a year or two, then you're gonna have an extra year or two of waiting for the fruit later on. So you wanna get them in the ground as soon as possible. And you'll see, so this is a Fuyu persimmon tree. She ripens every year pretty much in October and comes in late. This is a cherry tree. These are pie cherries. She got a disease thing, but I've trimmed her up and she's doing pretty darn good. And then this apple tree, this is a different variety. And even though she's blooming right now, this apple tree will ripen in November and December. I sometimes even have apples in early January. And then right there, woo, big cherry tree. All of these were planted that first February. And I have, there goes the cat. I have about 4 months of plums every year. So we start with like that plum, and then it's that plum, and then it's that plum. I have about 4 months of apples. It starts with the golden translucents or transparents, I never remember which, and it ends with that little apple tree there. So my apples are available pretty much from October, November, December at least. And so yeah, so there you go. I just think that it's really awesome when a person has an opportunity to look at their home as an investment for the next generation, rather than looking at their home as a monetary asset that they're going to turn around and sell later as part of like their cash retirement. If you don't have kids that want your home and you can't, if you're stuck in a suburb or some city apartment, I understand. If you have the opportunity to buy land and turn plain lawn and acres of weeds into open grazing fields and a massive garden and a food forest and all that, and then after your generation does that work to pay for that property, pass it on so that the next generation can do the work of expanding and maintaining and adding additional development elements, and spare them the effort of having to work for 30 years to pay a mortgage. If both my boys end up living here, that's 2 young men who won't have to spend 30 years just to pay a mortgage to buy land. That's 60 years of mortgage payments that is going to be prevented. And that's how you grow generational wealth. And I'll tell you, my husband was born on a dirt floor in Juarez, Mexico. And first time he went to school in the US, he only spoke Spanish. He had a family they had 13 kids, 2 passed away, so 11 kids, very little like direct parental involvement. Went into the Air Force, worked really hard, did really well, came out, got a tech field job, committed himself for 45 years to that career. And that's the American dream. And I was born to a family that was, 2 super poor college kids, amazing grandparent background. All the grandparents survived the Great Depression. And I grew up moving constantly. By the time I met my husband, I had lived in 30 different houses. My parents were divorced. I was moved back and forth constantly. And we were not mentally poor. There was no emotional poverty that burdened my family, but actually economically we were under the poverty level for most of my childhood. I think all of my childhood. And but that meant I was out getting jobs and, mowing lawns and doing animal care and babysitting for people and constantly hustling to make some money. I had no allowance. My parents couldn't even buy me clothing. I was buying most of my own clothes by the time I was in middle school. And all of that just gave me a sense of resilience and a good work ethic. And then I come here and it's like, sure, I'm not out hustling to generate a paycheck, but I would say for the last 20 years, I've worked as a full-time homemaker on the property, on the home, with the kids, with neighbors, homeschooling, everything. I probably work a 70-hour work week, easily. But here's the results. You pour your 20s and your 30s and your early 40s into this type of a project. And now we have, if we keep it in the family, we've got tons of food and a well cared for home and happy animals. Bloom where you're planted. I can really appreciate that. That might be a bumper sticker. I mean, I know that's like out there, like everyone's always heard it, right? And I'm thinking, I might, if I keep the home, I'll get some cute little thing I can put on the refrigerator. Bloom where you're planted, or maybe I'll put it out in the garden. I hope you're all having a great day. It's really beautiful here. This is the Pacific Northwest, and I'm gonna enjoy my home every single day as long as I can. I'll let you all know how things go with the divorce, and you'll be seeing content from me in the Philippines and South Korea, where I'm actually going to do some research for my novel series I've been working on for 12 years. And also there's a new series for paid subscribers only that is going to be empowering people to not be so scared of or uncertain when it comes to vaccine medicine decisions. I'm not going to tell you what to do. I'm just going to help you understand enough about what's going on so you can make informed decisions. And there are as many right decisions out there as there are people making decisions. So don't worry. What you want to know is that you made your decision intentionally with knowledge and you know what you're doing, and that you're not just doing something because someone else told you to, and later you might regret it. Whatever your decision, just make sure you know why you're doing it. Okie doke. Have a great day. Bye.